Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Bill Wilson. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks, Dave. Good to see you.
Well, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in your life. I hope you had a
Thank you, and to
wonderful
you.
week. That was fantastic. We actually celebrated 3 times, so it was really, really great given the situation here in Canada.
Yeah.
Bill and I are in one of the lockdown places of the planet, and so very minimal get-togethers, but really a great Mother's Day and honoring all the mothers around the world.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a lot of creativity this past weekend for people to get together, but also stay safe.
Absolutely. In fact, I was super creative from my perspective. I created some essential oils and gave some frankincense massage oils to my sister and to my mom, and they can experiment with that. And it's something from Egypt, and it was a blend that's really very cool for any type of inflammation, and it smells great. And as the Three Kings of Orient time did, frankincense is considered to be one of the mysteries of healing.
Yes, yes.
So, Bill, we got a little announcement today that Lead Pedal Radio, we're now collaborating with Bruce and the team at Lead Pedal Radio, and this is being broadcasted now to truckers and people in transport all throughout North America. Bruce has been working on a 24/7 channel, and our sharing, our discussions are now part of Lead Pedal Radio.
That's fantastic. Well, hello, everybody out there in Lead Pedal Radio land.
Fantastic. And they've really, we've had some little feedback that they enjoy our banter. They like our financial education, and they're into personal development. I was surprised. Bruce told me that truckers really like to read. When they're in their stops, they like to read, they listen to podcasts. And so hopefully today we can invite them to experiment a little bit with some of the tools that we use in mental wellness and also in financial education.
That'll be awesome. Yeah.
And so today's session, we're going to do a little bit of a process that it's inspired by our friends who are truckers and drivers and people who make sure that we get our food and all of the things we need to delivered on time. It's a GPS system. And if you think of GPS, Bill, what comes to mind?
Well, I'm sure in terms of what the truckers are thinking, and I think I'm thinking the same way, is you're thinking global positioning system. Something that tells me where to go.
It's absolutely true. It's using a triangulation, Bill. And in fact, this triangulation, it's up to a satellite, it's the truck, and it's where they want to go. And by having a triangulation, it shows them the optimal way. And it also, with the different computers, it gives them options to get to where they want to go.
Right.
And so we designed something like that in Get 2020 Vision. And it's
your book, yes.
Yeah, it's actually the core component of it is whenever you want to go somewhere, having a couple of other points can assist you to get there. And this personalized GPS system is to assist people to get to where they want to go.
Very good, very good.
So we're gonna back and forth a little bit. So the way to really be in the right spirit to get things going is to put yourself in a state of gratitude. And so the G in the personalized GPS calibration system is to get yourself in a state of gratitude. And some people say, well, how do you do that? That's not so easy. It's so hard. Well, that's probably the first thing, is changing your words and to make it simple, make it infuse effortless ease. When I ask you, Bill, give me 3 or 4 things that you're grateful for.
I started to examine this a while ago, and I think just keeping things as simple as possible. So like one of the first things every morning when I get up, if I, just opening my eyes and breathing, I'm grateful for that. You get out of bed and stand up. Okay. There's other things I'm grateful for. And then, just, where I live, my friends, like our connection, my wife. So I have, just before before my feet hit the floor in the morning, I've got 5 things easy that are happening there. And I think one of the things that finally hit me was just keeping this as simple as possible. You don't have to be some great mystical wisdom or something every morning. It's simple. I'm grateful for the fact that I can open my eyes and breathe. I'm grateful that I had a nice bed to sleep in last night. Different things like that. I'm grateful that I can have a nice breakfast in the morning. So yeah, I found it, the simpler, the easier it was.
That is fantastic advice, Bill. And I really hope whoever's listening to us today really take what Bill's suggesting is keep it simple and come up with your winning strategy. Because Bill, that sounded really like your winning strategy. You distilled it down to waking up, to be able to see, to be able to hear, to be able to speak, to have a comfortable bed. You can have, again, it's beautiful because you came up with 5 things right away that you're grateful for. And if you're pressed a little bit more, you can come up with 5 more. The fact that we live in Canada, you know how grateful I am to be born in Canada, to have a Canadian passport.
Oh,
wow.
yeah,
One of the best
huge
passports on the planet. And so grateful to have the vitality. Actually, if you've ever had health issues, gentlemen who might be driving there, or ladies, going to the bathroom first thing in the morning, actually having a toilet, having water. These are simple processes that sometimes we forget, yet if we bring it into our daily routine of expressing gratitude, it puts us in a pretty good spirit, right?
Yes. It definitely gets that smile on your face nice and early in the day.
And when you're talking about planning, if you start to plan anything you want to do, whether it's something you want to do today or in a month or in a year or in 10 years, starting out the process in gratitude is a great starting point.
Yes.
Starting you're planning for the year and you're grumpy and you just had a fight and you just kicked the dog and the dog ate your shoe. That's probably not the best state to start your planning.
Definitely not.
So let's hop to the next one, which is the P in the global positioning system. I've doubled it up a little bit with purpose and passion, and working with people, particularly in their 50s or their 60s, they often get very frustrated that they don't know what their purpose is or they don't know what their passion is. And instead of being curious and playful, they're stressed and they're upset and they're pissed off that they don't seem to have a purpose or passion. And so in this GPS system, we want to make it simple. And so we replace a little bit the purpose and passion with what would you like to do, or what would you like to study, or what would you love to do, or where would you love to go? And so in answering that question, Bill, and I hope I've asked it in a way that anyone who's listening, whether you're driving or you're about to go to bed or you're just actually doing a planning session for the next month or the next year, what are some of the things that you would like to learn? What are some of the things that you would like to do?
Yeah, I mean, as far as learning, that's been a huge thing for me. I decided many, many years ago to be a lifelong learner, and now there's just been so many things that have come out. Well, like in our chats, right? Learning about the stocks, learning like a little thing that I like to do is learn more about programming and coding, how to build websites. I always want to learn more about hockey, definitely about that. That's my passion. But yeah, just keeping that open mind and reading self-development books. So there's many different things I want to learn about. And it's just, taking a bit of time every day and figuring out new ways that, maybe how I can learn better. The one book I read, Jim Quick,
Super
Limitless.
Brain. Yes.
And he teaches me how to learn, which I thought was a very unique thing because we go through school and never, you don't learn how to learn. So I've been very interested in that sort of thing. And then, learning about, it was really interesting. I went back and one of Deepak Chopra's early books. It's all about aging. And I think the book's it's been on my bookshelf for a long time, probably about 20 years or something like that when I looked at the dates there. But it was just talking about aging and stuff like that and how we can reverse a lot of the things out there. And that was really interesting to me. So there's another thing I want to learn about. So there's lots and lots to learn.
Well, what you're suggesting, though, is that lifelong learner. And that was the thing that Bruce mentioned to me also, is that drivers tend to be real ferocious learners. They're constantly looking to learn new things. And I believe the book that you were thinking of, Deepak Chopra, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. And
That's the one.
this Deepak has been somebody for the last 30 years that in many ways he's reversed his aging. He looks younger today than he did 30 years ago. 30 years ago, he was a smoker. 30 years ago, he was probably, I don't know, 40 pounds overweight. And today he's looking younger. And this idea, what you did with Jim Quick, is that he's often known as the boy with the broken brain.
Yes.
And so he's learned to rewire his brain. He's learned to unlearn. And that's one of the things that we actually at our age now is unlearning all the things that we no longer need, that no longer serve us.
Yes.
And so it's pretty exciting that part of our purpose might be to learn, to unlearn, and to really be creative and curious at this age. And
Yes.
that what we can do is limitless, perhaps. And the neuroplasticity, that's a term that is becoming more popular, is our
Yes.
brain is actually malleable, and it shifts with the water and the way that we move. And if we go and spend time in the sun, and we actually learn to become younger.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I'm encouraging any of our listeners today, is that when you're talking about your purpose and passion, things that you'd like to do. Bill, you've been studying your programming, you've done some doodly, you've done creativity, you've been doing websites, you've been doing Canva. These are all things that in the last year you've been exploring and you've been experimenting with.
Yes. It's been a lot of fun. It again, looking back to the previous question about being grateful, I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had to do that. But it's that one of those reasons that I get up every morning. It's just exciting to go and learn something new every day, and just find out that I can still get better every day. And it's very enjoyable.
Every day, in every way, we can become better, stronger, fitter, happier.
Yeah.
And so these little mantras that we might be able to use. Now, Bill, let me just shift it a little bit. When we talk about passion, hockey is one of your passion. Helping people have better hockey careers is your passion. How about something that might be realized in the next 18 months to 3 years? Something that you'd love to do, a place you'd love to go. We've talked about Disney, you becoming a shareholder of Disney, you traveling to different Disneys. What would be one or two things that you could say, wow, I'd love to do that?
Well, as far as the travel side, that sort of thing, that's definitely one thing I want to do, is travel. My wife and I have already started getting our rough plans for the new Disney cruise ship. So that's definitely a passion of ours, to go on a cruise. And we've started the rough plans for that. I mean, there's still a lot of logistics to wait for. But the other thing that I'm really excited about over the next 18 months is actually helping a good friend. Jacqueline and I are working on her website with Shopify, and that I found it has been really, really exciting. I think I'm finding more that I just want to help my friends and move them forward, and this has been an awesome opportunity.
At Shopify, we actually last week we talked with Justin, my son, Jacqueline, and we got some really great feedback from that conversation on the idea of looking at payment systems and gateways and communication systems using the cryptocurrency and the new platforms like partnering with Shopify. I just watched a show about Affirm, which is one of the business partners of Shopify. In fact, Shopify right now might be an actual good buy as an investment. It's down quite a bit. It's down about 20% this year. It's quite an expensive stock. I think it's like $1,300 or $1,400. Yet to even have one of those as part of your portfolio could be a fun thing. That it's still got a very positive outlook. So that's great. The idea of helping friends to be able to make a difference somewhere in the world, or just right in your backyard. That's a great thing. And many of our listeners, I have a feeling, is that just look around and find ways to be kinder, be helpful to others. It really will have a positive impact. And do you believe in karma, Bill?
Yes, to a degree, yes. Like if you treat people well and you respect people and you're willing to help and that sort of thing, it's going to come back in some way or another. I don't know about the actual sign or anything, but I do believe that, if you go out there and be kind to people and try to help, just even a smile. And it, again, something I think that's very true about all this is you don't have to be mega or whatever like that. It can be just as something as simple as a smile or a kind nod or something like that that can make somebody's day. And if you can get through that every day, then that's awesome.
That's great. The idea of what comes around goes around, yet
Yeah.
every day we can be kind, and it's fascinating that there is a science. There is a science of abundance. There's the art and science that comes in together, and there's a flow. And so that's something that, again, invites some of our listeners. If you got a comment or your favorite way to pay it forward to family, friends, and business partners, we'd definitely welcome that. Bill, as we move on from G, gratitude, P, purpose and passion, we move to S, and S is for service. And in this question, it's almost putting out the 3 to 5 year plan is who would you really love to serve? And it sounds like your service might also be very combined with your passion of helping your friends. And so
Yes.
part of your service might be of helping my friends. Is there
Yeah.
any other groups that you would love to, if you won that lottery and you had an extra million or two, are there groups of people that you would love to help out?
Well, definitely. So my friends, definitely, like we've been talking about. I would probably help in the hockey community. I would like to see as many kids as possible be able to put on a pair of skates and enjoy the game like you and I have. It brings a lot of, I don't know if people realize it, but it brings so much to you, even when you stop playing. The game just seems to keep giving and giving. I guess the other community would probably be to help people our age and older to adapt and keep flowing and enjoy the journey, that sort of thing. So there'd probably be those three groups.
Well,
Um,
we've been very inspired by Dolly in
yes,
Singapore. She's
yes,
a very young and vibrant 60 something,
yeah,
and she's helping out elderly, senior Singapore, teaching technology. She's been doing some motivational talks lately. I think she's even been paid lately to be a motivational speaker. She's
awesome.
bringing coaching into the senior community. And it's been great for her to be part of our inner circle to see what's possible. And she's very, again, a lifelong learner,
Yes,
fitter, healthier, happier. She's great with mantras. And I believe that that's something that's great between Canada and Singapore and around the world. We might be able to do these cross country, cross cultural type of education platforms.
uh, I totally agree. I think that's one of the things that I've been so amazed about our inner circle group or our heart circle group that you talk about, that the opinions and ideas and concepts and problems and successes and all that are the same here as they are across the world. I mean, I listen to Dolly and I think, oh yeah, I went through that. Oh yeah, I remember that. So it's awesome. And I think, the technology that we're learning how to use now makes the world such a small place that now it's just, okay, what community? Okay, it's hockey players for me. It's hockey players around the world. Or, my friends, well, I've made new friends across the world. I help them too, so I think it can be just a global thing. But again, I think it's something that we can keep simple. We don't have to go crazy and think, oh, I could never do that. Just a smile or a nod, a handshake, a pat on the back. That's all it has to start with.
The simplicity of the communication now is that we talk to people in South Africa and Singapore and occasionally Australia and Malaysia and the UK, and it's just been so effortless that
Yes.
the sharing, when you share from experience, there's almost an absence of ego. That it's not about trying to impress or to be big. It's about sharing your experience, and
Yeah.
perhaps your experience might help someone else have an experience that they can develop the confidence or the certainty or the a little bit of the fear. They infuse the curiosity, but they also are talking to somebody who maybe has experienced something similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's something that, again, any of our listeners, when you're hearing that, is that some of the things that you do that are so natural, just sharing it with somebody who's never done it can often be the bridge that helps them across because when we do something for the first time, there tends to be some fear, some trepidation. I've noticed that particularly as working with elderly, is that as a 75-year-old, it's the first time they're going to be experiencing a lot as a 75-year-old. As an 80-year-old, it's relearning, especially after a surgery or after a problem, that there's going to be a wavering of self-confidence and self-esteem. And so quite often what you're saying, that simplicity of the smile, the patience, the compassion, can assist somebody to reestablish that connection where they have the courage to try things new. Because one of the biggest things in our trust circle, in our heart circle work, is when you try something the first time, you got to be willing to be lousy at it to start off with. And that's pretty hard on the ego sometimes, is that, especially if you've been successful at pretty much everything in your life, and all of a sudden at 80 you're trying to do art and you are lousy at it.
Yeah.
So what's your guidance for people, because you are doing a lot of things for the first time? What are you saying to yourself to get through the stigma of maybe not being very good at it to start off?
I think one of the things that I've been able to get through or accept is, I'm trying this for the first time. I'm learning, and a mistake, getting rid of the word mistake. It's a learning opportunity now. Okay, so I did this. Okay, it's not where I wanted to be. What can I learn from it? Okay, here's what I've learned. What do I have to do to get back on the route? Is it the same path, or has my path started to swerve? So just being more open to, it's okay to make a mistake, but a mistake is now a learning opportunity, as opposed to something that you might have got your knuckles wrapped for many, many moons ago.
Is it sounding, or for me, it's sounding like you're becoming a kinder, gentler person to yourself?
I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. The days of, beating myself, where you would beat yourself up because, oh man, I didn't get this right. Why can't I get this right? I think those days are all gone. I think it's just a much more relaxed feeling now. Acceptance that, hey, things might take a bit longer than they did before, but they also might happen a lot faster. But just accepting that times and that sort of thing, they can vary. And as opposed to, okay, I got to learn this in, why didn't I learn this in 2 minutes? He did. Nah, it doesn't matter anymore.
That's great. So this invitation to folks to consider service, and some of the areas that I've been doing some service on, and it's great because 2 weeks ago I interviewed one of my dear friends in Perth, Shazar, and Shazar left Perth and lived in India at a shelter for about 2 to 3 years. And so she wanted to do a little raising some money for the lady who runs the shelter, Yogita, who just celebrated her birthday. And so she went out to a few friends, and we made a little contribution so that Yogita could deliver some special food to the 170 kids. And so that service of being able to do something from Canada to make a difference to somebody in Perth, to make a difference to somebody in India, was, again, something that was really nice to celebrate Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. Another one that Shazar, again, has organized, because she's got the skills in GoFundMe, and anyone who would like to learn a little bit about GoFundMe, check out, I'll put the link down to the interview with Shazar, and you can connect with her. We're raising some money to help a friend in Cambodia, because about 99% of the travel in Cambodia has disappeared in the last year. And one of our dear friends, who was our tour guide and like a brother to us, is building a chicken farm. And so Shazar has put together a GoFundMe, and we've done quite well raising some funds. And the chicken farm is moving forward, because that's not only a business, it's a social enterprise, and it's something that makes a difference, again, with a team of people that can be of service to others. So it's fun to do things together. I think that's one of the things that, Bill, you and I really resonate with. And it's also fun to look at the possibilities that you might be off to South Africa in the next 3 to 4 years, and
Who knows?
there might be some opportunities to even and do some hockey there, but their hockey might be field hockey.
Field hockey,
And
yeah.
so it's something to be excited about. Yet we also invite any of our friends listening to tell us what your service is. Since coming back to Canada, I've been working also with Voice of Men 360, and we've expanded to Malaysia. So we're having the conversation to allow men to communicate more effectively, boys to be able to talk so that they're not so brutally fierce to themselves, and looking for ways to build on community through communication and dialogue, sort of what we're doing today, Bill.
Right.
And
Nice.
so service is one of those areas that a little experiment also is that I believe one of the first times that you and I did service together was Timmy Tyke.
That's going back, buddy.
It used to be called the Crippled Children of Toronto of Canada. And I believe we were probably about 7 or 8 years old, and we had the opportunity to play in Maple Leaf Gardens. It gives me goosebumps to talk about this.
Yes.
And here we were in the Mississauga Reps uniforms, and we raised a certain amount of money. If I'm not mistaken, you were number 1 or number 2 selling Christmas cakes to raise money for Timmy Tyke. We made quite a contribution, and that stayed with me my whole life. So the Special Olympics, when I was in Singapore, I was the special coach of the Singapore floor hockey team that went to Japan. And so the Special Olympics has been something that's been dear to my heart most of my life also. So again, a little bit of thinking back and reflecting back to manifest forward.
No, that's awesome. That's really going back. Thanks, man. That was great. I remember the fundraising, but I remember the games as well. Yeah, the game at the Gardens there. Yeah.
It was quite an experience as a young 7 or 8 year old to play in Maple Leaf Gardens, and and so it also gets me to set up my invitation again. We're putting out the energy to Dougie Gilmore to come aboard our show, and let's hear a little bit about his projects. Maybe run him through the GPS system and find out the different areas that his purpose, his passion, and areas of service. So. That's a little bit of the GPS system. I hope you've enjoyed it. If anyone would like more details about it, please hit us up with it. Send us an email. For the first 5 people, we're actually going to be offering or in giving them a copy of the Get 2020 Vision. So that's a special gift for this week. And as we move into this last section, financial education has been a big part of our conversations, Bill.
Yes.
Is there a question you might have this week about crypto or stocks or dividend stocks?
Well, I guess there's been a huge amount of stuff going on in the crypto world, so let's focus on that one. So what's going to happen? Like, I guess Doge, that's the big thing with whatever Elon Musk did on the weekend. Like, what's happening there? Well,
it is a wonderful world. I ended up buying some Doge last week just as again, one of the things we experiment with, and Ethereum has been the big winner since we've started speaking. I think it went from $400 to $4,000 US.
That's incredible.
In less than a year.
Yeah.
Doge has been, again, it's a coin that was a joke, and Elon made some. I thought Elon was fantastic on Saturday Night Live. He had humor. They spun off each of the segments with cool businesses he's doing. He's got a tunneling business in California, so they had a tunneling skit. They had his skit as a financial pundit. They had a skit about him with his mother. It was celebrating Mother's Day. So anyone who sort of says SNL was lousy, like, I just reflect back and saying they celebrated Mother's Day. How can you hate on that? So Elon's mom was there. They joked a little bit about he's always been a peculiar kid. He's always been quirky. Like his inside joke was, I'm sending people to Mars. I'm replacing all combustion engines with electric cars. What do you think? I'm just a chill type of guy. And so he did make some great jokes about himself. So he has been a proponent. I think he called himself Uncle Doge. And so he's like the guy behind the Dogecoin. And then the joke was that he's going to send a spaceship up and people can pay Dogecoin. And so it goes from a joke to
Yeah.
now being a coin that has about a $60 billion capitalization.
That's
And
incredible.
if people and companies start accepting it as a medium of exchange, then it has incredible value.
Yes.
That's where we are with it right now. So it's gone from like 1 cent to 60 cents. The effort was to make it into $1 during Elon's SNL experience.
Yeah.
It dropped down to like 45 cents right
Okay.
after the show. So it dropped about 20%. And I actually could probably just look it up right now, because on the weekend I did. I just decided to buy some because I wanted to. So it's at 30 cents now. So it went up to 60, and they were hoping it was going to go to $1. It dropped immediately to about 45 cents, and now it's at 30 cents. And so that's the little world of Doge.
Yeah.
I wanted to invite people, and this is my little tip of the day. I'm going to put this as a comment. There is a stock right now that I've been following for over a decade. It is from Brazil. And so if we want to bring some Brazilian energy into our conversations, it is a miner. And it's a very famous miner in Brazil called VALE, VALE. Check it out. It's in the New York Stock Exchange. It is in raw resources, raw materials, and that's what's beautiful. That's having a boom market right now. As we get more inflation, they're going to be able to pass on the costs, and the stock has gone very well. In the last year, it's gone from $7.80 up to $23.
Wow.
Today, it's at $22.70, yet it still has a 5.8% dividend, Bill.
No, that's nice.
So even if you just, again, this is not financial advice, yet Bill and I do like financial education. This is a stock that I've followed for decades. I've sold it as it went from 7 to 14 to 21. So I've taken a little bit of profit, yet I might actually buy more because I think the next 6 to 12 months, it could see 30. And so that's the thing about when you're buying and you're having a relationship with some stocks, you can have it for a short term or a long term. It is something that with a 5.8% dividend, given our age, it's a pretty nice dividend, and it's got some nice potential upside. So
Nice.
For your homework of the week in the financial education side is check out VALE. Check out a little bit of the history of it, and feel free, in our next session, we'll talk that in the financial education portion of our Canada startup, in collaboration with Lead Pedal Radio, and of course, Continual Shift. Make shift happen, because in life, shift does happen.
Yes, it does.
So, Bill, let's bring the session to a close. We want to keep these moving, and one area of advice for people: if you're watching it on YouTube, put it on 125 to 150 speed, and then Bill and I will seem a lot more dynamic. It's what I do when I watch other people's videos. And actually, in the future, if we're going to use YouTube, I'm going to put a big sheet in there. Watch at 150 times speed for optimal enjoyment.
I wouldn't mind having that switch on myself right now, jumping up to 125.
So, Bill, any last questions as we bring it to the Mother's Day edition of Canada Startup to a completion? Thank you so much for your time. Any last questions, thoughts, or?
I think one of the big things I thought today was about adding to your story. I think from what I understand from what the GPS for what we discussed today, I think it's all a good part to for people to start thinking about what your story is. A new part to add to your story. So it was very good. Thank you.
I think that's a nice amendment, and that's something that, as we even do some edits on this video, is that GP, because you see how I've done GPP, it could be GPP SS.
Yes.
So service and story, that is often referred to as your legacy also. So it could be a little bit of that. It could be something that's holding us back, his story or her story. And it might even come into a little bit about the hero's journey or the Shiro's journey, which is something we might talk about in a future show.
That's cool.
Well, with that, Bill, thank you so much for your time today. Wishing everybody in collaboration with Lead Pedal Radio a safe driving. Enjoy. Feel free to give us some feedback. We'd definitely like to tailor some content for you that can maximize your time with us. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. Excellent as always. Drive safe, everybody. Thank you.